Good morning, Jubilee family. My name is Alex, and for today's daily encouragement, we are going to continue in our Jubilee Bible reading plan. We are in Psalm chapter 79, and gosh, when I had initially read this chapter, it was really difficult to try and come up with where am I finding the encouragement in these verses, as it was really challenging to read and to see the dire situation that the Israelites were going through at that time. This is about 600 years before Jesus' birth, and coincidentally, the time of Babylonian occupation and imprisonment of the Israelites coincides very well with the new sermon series that we're in that Greg Nelson kicked off on Sunday. And it's written by this guy named Asaph. And Asaph, Bible scholars believe, was a guy who was on basically the front lines, witnessing and personally experiencing the difficulty, the death, the destruction that was being put upon the Israelite people at that time. And he is praying out to God for relief, for mercy, for forgiveness of their sins, because at that time the Israelites had fallen away, they had disobeyed God, and God had allowed them to walk down this path of destruction that they were on, and reap the repercussions of their destructive behavior. And so throughout these verses, we see Asaph crying out to God and expressing everything that he has within him, that he has seen from his family, his friends, his people. It was so bad that the Bible says that the Babylonians, when they would kill some of the Israelites, that they wouldn't even bury their bodies. They would just allow them to be eaten in the streets by the beasts of the wilderness. This was a very large disrespect, dishonor during that culture, and really not even acknowledging basically that the other nation is human. And so very challenging to get through and read. But a couple things that I notice and that I want to bring out of this prayer that we're seeing from Asaph, that I hope will encourage us, is one, that we can be very raw with God. We can fully express the things that are going on in our hearts and pray to Him. And unlike them at the time, we have an intercessor who is praying on our behalf in Jesus. That Jesus is praying for us, and that we have direct access through His life, death, sacrifice, and resurrection to be able to come to God with any situation that we are in. And the God of the universe hears us in our plight, and He will respond to us. So there's something that is amazing. We can be genuine, we can be raw before God and know that He is listening to us. The second thing I would say is a warning, and the warning being that there can be times that if we allow our behavior to continue without getting it checked with embracing friends who can come around us, that God can allow you to continue to go down your destructive behavior, and ultimately it can have a very negative impact on our lives. And so God has put people, God has put the church in our lives to help us with that, and that we can confidently go to grace, that we can confidently seek forgiveness. And so I think that from this, one of the things I'm taking away is that I want to deal with things that I'm doing if it's destructive. And then lastly, I would say that we have a just God. God is full of justice, and between what we read here in these verses, we know that it may not happen necessarily in the time frame that we want, but that we serve a God that is just. And in a time where right now we have different things in our community, across the nation, even globally, where there has been lots of injustice, that we can know that we serve a God who is full of justice, and there will come a time where his justice will be seen. And so I think for us, that knowing that we can be raw before God, knowing that we can run to him, and knowing that we serve a just and loving God are things that we can really take away and run with at any point in our lives. I hope that this encourages you today. If you could do me one big favor, though, and join me in wishing my lovely wife a very happy birthday on this Memorial Day. Send her a text or say hi to her somehow. Give her a quick call. I know she'd really appreciate it. And we'll see you Wednesday for All Church Prayer.